Hi, and welcome. My name is David Moucher, President and CEO of Windsor Regional Hospital and co-chair of the Program and Services Steering Committee. Today, we are going to not only reveal the site chosen for the new acute care hospital, but also introduce you to a new system of local health care. This plan was submitted to the province as part of the first stage of the planning process. And today, we will share with you the plan we have submitted to the province and are now waiting for their review and approval. I want to start by thanking everyone who was involved in getting us to where we are today. That includes each and every individual who came out and got involved in this process, everyone who attended one of our many town halls or offered feedback on our blog, or stopped me on the street and talked about the future of our healthcare system. This is your hospital. As the co-chairs of the steering committee overseeing the planning process, Dave Cook and I have been committed to making sure this is the most fair, open, and transparent process possible. It is unlike any other process used before in Ontario. Experts involved in site selection for hospitals across North America have referred to the process as BRAVE because it attempts to include the community at every step along the way. I hope that it is apparent today as we highlight for you our plan for the new Windsor Essex hospital system. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce my fellow steering committee co-chair, Dave Cook, who will take us through a bit of the process and history.
This plan is a collaborative and local vision for the future of our healthcare. The plan is the work of the Programs and Services Steering Committee. The committee is made up of representatives from all local hospitals, the City of Windsor, County of Essex, the Erie-St. Clair-Lynn, Erie-St. Clair CCAC, and Essex County Medical Society. Our plan was submitted to the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. We will now work with the Ministry and Erie-St. Clair-Lynn on the submitted plan. The goal of the entire project is to create a seamless, integrated, and accessible healthcare system for Windsor, Essex. Before we get into today's announcement, let's take a look at how we got here. Recognizing the need for infrastructure updates, Dwight Duncan created the Windsor Hospitals Study Task Force, which was chaired by myself, former Cabinet Minister Teresa Peruzza, and Tom Porter. After extensive community consultation on the need for a new hospital, the task force noted strong enthusiasm for a new hospital and recommended moving ahead immediately. The Windsor Regional Hospital and Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare Board of Directors undertook an historic realignment of services, leaving Windsor Regional Hospital responsible for all acute care and Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare responsible for non-acute care. Then the search for a site began. A steering committee overseeing the planning got the community involved early. We asked for their input and criteria and put together a process built on integrity and fairness. Those interested were given the opportunity to apply for a seat on the site selection subcommittee. We had great interest in this, with close to 80 applications for these volunteer positions. A fairness advisor was hired to monitor the process. Glenn Ackerley was our advisor. He's a well-respected lawyer with a wealth of experience in procurement law. He monitored the process to make sure it was followed and will be issuing a report commenting on the integrity of the process later this month. This is not a requirement, but we felt it would only add to the integrity of the process. The volunteer members of the Site Selection Subcommittee spent countless hours following the process to pick the best site, which we will announce later today. At every step possible, we reached out to you in the community to share this vision, find out what it is the community wants from a new healthcare system, and gave the community members a chance to be heard. Over the past year and a half, we've spoken to more than 20 different community groups. We've held 3 public open houses in Windsor and Essex, and 2 town hall broadcasts on AM 800. We thank everyone who has taken the time to add their voice to this discussion so far. And I guarantee there will be many more opportunities as we move forward with the next stages in planning. We want to hear from you because this is your hospital. Before we continue, I want to recognize the work of the Site Selection Subcommittee. This group, made up of 10 volunteer members from Windsor, Essex, spent a combined total of approximately 1,500 hours choosing the site. That's about 150 hours each volunteering on this project. Bob Reno is the chair of the Windsor Regional Hospital Board of Directors and the Site Selection Subcommittee. I'll let him pick it up from here for our presentation today.
As chair of the Site Selection Subcommittee, I can tell you this experience has been demanding yet highly satisfying and rewarding. I can't thank my fellow members of the subcommittee enough. 10 volunteers from our community who devoted countless hours for this region. This assignment was not taken lightly. Back in the fall, we met for the first time as a group. We were given more than 20 sites to examine, as well as 32 very specific criteria that had to be evaluated and scored for each site. We took this important task to heart. Each member, on her or his own, thoroughly examined each of the 20-plus sites, giving them scores for all 32 criteria. That's more than 700 evaluations to complete and more than 700 decisions to make by each member of the subcommittee. Earlier this year, we then met as a team and came to a consensus score for each of those criteria for each of those sites, another over 700 decisions. That means we each had to make over 1,400 decisions. The top scoring sites were then placed on a short list and moved on to Phase 2. Phase 2 was an opportunity to take a deeper look and make sure that each site was right for our new hospital. This included soil sampling, air quality assessments, and site servicing. The key factor was the total acquisition cost. The site that attained the highest total score will be revealed to you later today. This process has been long and at times arduous. The goal of having 10 very passionate people to come to a consensus on so many decisions demonstrated exceptional teamwork by people who cared for their community and knew that the stakes were high. But as I stated earlier, it was also rewarding and unlike anything that any of us have had the opportunity to be part of before. I, as well as each of our subcommittee members, are confident that the site you will see today is the best possible available site for our new state-of-the-art hospital, one that will serve Windsor, Essex for generations to come. However, this announcement today is about more than this site. I want to thank the steering committee members for their work in making sure that the site is only part of a new healthcare system, one that works for all the citizens of Windsor, Essex. And one more critical point. From the beginning, we believed it essential that we proceeded with the process built on integrity. To support this plan, we appointed a fairness advisor, an individual responsible for ensuring that integrity in major RFP projects is not compromised. Mr. Glenn Ackerley, a partner in the law firm Weir Folds, is the fairness advisor who was appointed to join the site selection committee during our deliberations. Here's a video in which he expresses his positive evaluation of our process. Thank you.
So in my report, I describe each of the stages of the RFP process. I talk about the initial information meetings where proponents were given the initial information regarding how the process was going to unfold, what the steps were going to be in the process. So I describe the process from that stage right through to the final selection of the site and my involvement in it and the fact that all the way through the rules were in fact followed. There was no place where the evaluators veered off course. They maintained the process, the integrity of the process throughout. If there was one word, it was conducted with integrity. Just the commitment of the evaluators to make sure all aspects of each of the submissions that were made were considered. The other aspect is the fact that there was public consultation at the outset about what was important to the community as part of the decision making. That was very unique in my view.
Hi, I'm Gary Switzer, the CEO of the Erie St. Clair LHIN. The approach that we have taken is unique in that we've involved the community from the beginning. It is also unique in that it involves so many of our partners. The Windsor-Essex hospital system is based on a new service delivery model. I'm going to walk you through that new model of delivery this morning. It starts with the new single-site acute care hospital. This will include complex regional trauma and emergency, regional cardiac care, regional cancer care, regional dialysis care, critical care, neurosurgery, neonatal intensive care, obstetrics, pediatrics, inpatient medical and surgical units, acute specialist clinics, and more. Windsor Regional Hospital will be responsible for all these services at the new hospital. Hotel de Grace Healthcare is responsible for non-acute care in this model. They'll also be responsible for acute and specialized mental health, child and youth mental health services, complex continuing care, dialysis, rehabilitation, and some outpatient clinics. The model includes satellite centers, which will bring some services out into the community, making it easier for our patients to access them. These satellites will include dialysis, urgent care, outpatient mental health, clinics and chronic disease management at different locations throughout the area. In addition, we have our partners at Leamington District Memorial Hospital who will continue to offer their services, including a 24-hour emergency department. We also have the CMHA and the CCAC. Together, this model will wrap itself around patients and offer those in Windsor-Essex a seamless, integrated, and accessible healthcare system.
In order to make this model work, the steering committee identified 3 capital projects. We will discuss each of these in detail today, but to summarize what we can expect, today's announcement includes a site and plans for the new state-of-the-art acute care hospital, satellite facilities including an urgent care center, and redevelopments at the Hotel de Grace Healthcare non-acute hospital. We will also look at what the future holds for the 2 existing acute care hospitals. Each one of these announcements is built on extensive community consultations and it is an important piece of the new Windsor-Essex hospital systems puzzle. We recognize that what we are proposing here is a major shift from our current hospital system. This proposal includes bold and innovative ideas. To help you understand and appreciate this vision, we invite you to join us on a journey today. Get on board as we explore the future of healthcare together. The first stop is Hotel de Grace Healthcare Tafour Campus. And with that, I turn things over to the President and CEO of Hotel de Grace Healthcare, Janice Caffer, who will present the plans for this campus.
On October 1st, 2013, Hotel de Grace Healthcare assumed responsibility for the Tafour campus on the west end of the City of Windsor. On this site, which is a non-acute care hospital, we specialize in children and youth mental health, rehabilitation services, specialized mental health, complex continuing and palliative care, as well as a variety of important outpatient services. As a member of the steering committee, we've had the opportunity to take an active role in the development of a new vision for the hospital systems here in Windsor-Essex, and to improve services for the patients and clients we serve. We are very excited to announce that Hotel de Grace Healthcare will continue its 127-year legacy in the delivery of high-quality healthcare to our community. The plan on this site includes construction of a new 60-bed acute mental health wing, the development of a satellite dialysis location, and expanded diagnostic imaging services. Hotel de Grace Healthcare will continue to operate our current core services in addition to the ones I have just mentioned. The addition of acute mental health, renal dialysis, and expanded diagnostics in the West End will improve timely access to care. It brings care closer to home for many of our community members, and with the geography of the new acute care site, comprehensive care in the West End is required. Developing the acute mental health beds on the TAFE4 campus will strengthen and support the commitment that Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare has made to our community for the future of a center of excellence for mental health and addictions. Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare will provide seamless mental health services across the lifespan of individuals and families, from child and youth through all the way to psychogeriatric care. It will allow for a direct access point for mental health clients that is open and available for assessment and treatment 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our strong partnership with the Canadian Mental Health Association, the recognized leader in community mental health, allows Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare to enhance the patient experience across the health system through key transition points. Through the Center of Excellence model for mental health services, there will be important benefits to the local health system. These benefits include reduced emergency department visits, as well as reduced repeat emergency department visits for those clients who do not require admission to hospital, reduced wait times for services, and increased system flow. The addition of 6 renal dialysis stations will benefit many renal patients who live within close proximity to the TAFE4 campus. They'll now be able to get their treatments here, closer to home. Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare also has many inpatients that could benefit from not having to travel across the city to the Willette campus for this treatment. With this addition, it can be done right at Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare, thus facilitating timely transitions from acute care to the non-acute care offered at Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare. It is important to note that HDGH, Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare, has considerable space that does not require capital investment. It has, in fact, already been built. There are spaces that are available for the expansion of rehabilitation and complex continuing care, and we will work closely with our partners to identify opportunities to expand these services to continue to meet the needs in the community. Currently, Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare is looking at enhancing complex continuing care and rehabilitation as envisioned by the leaders in the field. One example is Providence Healthcare in Toronto. Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare's dedicated focus on recovery, restoration, and rehabilitation will yield important benefits at the individual patient level and at the system level. These include clinical innovation and service optimization, enhanced integration of services, and expedited transitions across care settings. We will truly be a partner in creating a hospital and healthcare system in Windsor.
Our next stop on this journey is at the corner of University Avenue and Crawford Avenue. You may remember this as the former Grace Hospital site. This community has a rich history in healthcare that dates back to 1918. That is when the Salvation Army converted a former home on this property to a 28-bed hospital to help fill the need for more hospital beds in Windsor. Over time, it expanded and became a landmark in our community. In 1994, the hospital merged with Hotel Dieu. Eventually, all operations were moved to the Willette campus. After that, this neighborhood went through some tough and uncertain times. That's why we are so excited to be part of something that is so positive, something that will change this community again and bring it back to its roots in healthcare. What we are proposing here is the construction of a new satellite facility with clinics. This will include an urgent care center, as well as diagnostics, a CT scanner, chronic disease management, laboratory services, and a pharmacy. Windsor Regional Hospital will be responsible for all services at this site. When we started talking about an overhaul to the hospital system, we knew taking care of residents in Windsor's downtown core was a priority. This offers a new model of emergency care delivery to residences in this area. This model is being used by other hospitals to relieve pressure within busy emergency departments. Again, it is an opportunity to be part of a revitalization in this neighborhood and will allow Windsor Regional Hospital to maintain a presence in the heart of Windsor. So what is urgent care? This is a new concept to our community. This will be an alternative site for some patients with less serious issues. These are people who need to see a doctor, but do not need to sit and wait in an emergency department. In other municipalities, this is used as a strategy to reduce emergency department wait times. So how is this different than going to an emergency department? The big difference between urgent care and emergency services is that those with life-threatening issues will not come here, and patients will not come here by ambulance. The hours will also be a little different than those in the emergency department. About 18 hours a day at first, but that could change depending on need. You don't want to confuse this with a walk-in clinic though. Some clinics call themselves urgent care centers, but they are not the same. The difference is this facility will be staffed by Windsor Regional Hospital physicians and emergency room workers and run by Windsor Regional Hospital. Unlike a typical walk-in clinic, the urgent care center will include diagnostic imaging, which includes a CT scanner and laboratory services. This will allow physicians to treat and diagnose more patients' issues on site. As you can see, there are a number of different issues that can be treated here. Every year, we treat about 37,900 patients with these types of issues in our emergency departments at both Met and Olette. A majority of these patients, 71%, live within 10 kilometers of the proposed Grace Urgent Care location. So when will all of this happen? Again, this is a proposal. We need to work with the Ministry of Health and the Erie St. Clair LHIN before moving forward. But the goal is to have it open by the time the hospital opens, and maybe sooner. With that, let's move on to the next stop. Windsor Regional Hospital's Olette campus, formerly Hotel Dieu Grace Hospital. In this plan, Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare returns to the city core. Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare's President and CEO, Janice Kaffer, will now explain.
This 9.8-acre site is currently operated by Windsor Regional Hospital as part of the realignment of hospital services. This site has a rich history in this city. Right from the start, 127 years ago, the hospital served the marginalized, the disenfranchised, and the most vulnerable populations. As part of the plan being proposed, Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare will return to this site to continue this important work in order to benefit the downtown community and everyone who needs accessible mental health services. Redevelopment of the Olette site will allow for the development of a mental health complex as the anchor program, as well as a proposed location for delivery of chronic disease management services. As you are aware, Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare will be opening a transitional stability center a few blocks down the road. The lease on that site will expire around the same time as the new acute care facility opens. This plan will be to develop the Olette site to support outpatient mental health services, including the transitional center, as well as the chronic disease management. With Hotel Dieu Grace assuming responsibility of this site, the delivery of mental health services at the Olette and Tafour campuses will allow for the seamless delivery of mental health services that I spoke of earlier. Like the urgent care center, having a presence downtown for mental health services will ensure that the population currently accessing these services will still be able to access the care downtown. It will also relieve pressures on the emergency department at the new acute care site. In addition, Hotel Dieu Grace plans on continuing to build upon already existing partnerships and create a community hub within the city core. The property has the potential to be more than a healthcare facility. The focus for the community hub will be on wellness and community health, and we have already initiated this work. Planning is underway for the development of this community-oriented vision. You will hear more about this in the next 6 to 9 months. The vision for both the Willette and Tafor sites really allows Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare to continue changing lives together with our partners.
Our plan also includes a provision for the existing properties. This community is well aware of what can happen when former hospitals are vacated and left unattended. The next stop looks at the future of the Met campus. Currently an acute care hospital run by Windsor Regional Hospital. I now invite Windsor's Mayor Drew Dilkens to talk about what the future holds for this campus.
Hi, I'm Drew Dilkens, Mayor of the City of Windsor. As part of an agreement reached earlier this month with Windsor Regional Hospital, the City of Windsor will take ownership of the current Met campus in exchange for the former Grace Hospital site. As David mentioned just a few minutes ago, for nearly 90 years, University Avenue was home to a vital community healthcare facility. Grace Hospital was a respected and important part of our city's healthcare system. But for too long, this site was left to deteriorate until the city took ownership of the property and moved to demolish what had become an eyesore in our community. Today, that story changes, and we will see the Grace site return to its roots and become a key piece in the redesign of healthcare delivery in the city and region. In order to move forward from the mistakes of the past and to ensure that the current Met campus site does not experience the same fate as the former Grace Hospital site, the City of Windsor has entered into a partnership with Windsor Regional Hospital. A clean transfer of the Met campus to the city will allow us to control any future development at this location. The city will also be presented with a blank canvas. That will enable us to ensure that any future development on this site respects the characteristics of this vibrant and well-established residential neighborhood and commercial corridor. The City of Windsor is pleased to play a role in this local vision to create a seamless, integrated, and accessible healthcare system for all residents in Windsor and Essex County.
Now the moment you've been all waiting for. The answer to the question everyone has been asking. Where is the new hospital going to go? Well, let's buckle up. The new hospital will be built on this 60-acre property at the southeast corner of County Road 42 and the 9th concession in the City of Windsor. The property has been in the O'Keefe family for more than 100 years. This City of Windsor property is part of land transferred to the city from the town of Tecumseh in 2003. It was done so to accommodate future growth and expansion of the city. This is the proposed home for a new 1.6 million square foot, 10-story, state-of-the-art acute care hospital for the residents of Windsor and Essex. When it opens, the hospital will have nearly 500 beds with the capacity to expand to meet future needs. Windsor Regional Hospital will be responsible for the services here. This site will have a modern design that will change the hospital experience for families in this region. More privacy, up-to-date technology, better infection control. It will be built to accommodate our partners in education and enhance our research abilities. This kind of infrastructure will allow us to recruit and retain the top physicians, frontline staff, and medical leaders to this area. The 60-acre property will allow us to build and expand over time as needed. It is ideally located near major access roads with links to all highways. This will make it easy for emergency vehicles, transit buses, patients, and visitors. The site is located near an existing Transit Windsor route, with the opportunities to tie directly into that system. The location allows for a helipad to be built in compliance with Transport Canada requirements on site, which was a major criterion in site selection and is impossible at our current locations. And as you can see, the site is clear, so that makes development that much easier. Located within a 10-minute drive from majority of our patients and staff. The new single-site, state-of-the-art acute care hospital will be accessible to patients. Every year, we admit about 28,000 patients at either the OMET or OLET campus. 70% of those patients currently live within 12 kilometers of this site. The new hospital will be accessible to emergency department visitors. Every year, there are about 130,000 emergency department visits at either the MET or OLET campus. 76% of those who visited in the past year live within 12 kilometers of the new site. The new hospital will be accessible to employees. 60% of our current employees live within 10 kilometers of the new hospital site. It will also be accessible to our professional staff made up of physicians, dentists, and midwives. 67% live within 10 kilometers of the new single-site acute care hospital. This will cut down driving time for many in this group. We know it is important for our physicians to easily toggle back and forth between patients in their offices and the patients in the hospital. 84% of the Windsor Regional Hospital professional staff members have offices within 10 kilometers of the new site. It is important to note that in all these cases, the numbers are similar or better than those for our two current sites, MET and OLET. The community told us accessibility was a priority, and we listened.
Again, you can see how all of the components that we have being introduced to today work together to form the new model of healthcare delivery for this region. This process is unique, first time in Ontario, working with our community and all of our system partners. So what are the next steps? It is important to note that all of this is still just a proposal. As head of the Erie St. Clair LHIN, we look forward to working with the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care to evaluate the plan and getting to work on the next stages of planning.
The amount of work and time that has gone into this decision is to be commended. This is truly a comprehensive, thorough, and exhaustive process. I would like to recognize the work of the steering committee and their efforts to engage the public throughout this process. This site strongly reflects the wishes of the residents of this region who said access to the site was the most important criterion. I want to talk about the history of the site for a moment. On January 1st, 2003, the town of Tecumseh transferred approximately 6,300 acres of land to the city of Windsor, including this site. This was to accommodate future employment and residential growth through a 20-year planning period. It has been planned for institutional and large-scale developments, like a hospital. The selection of this site fits well into the city's future plans for the area, as it falls within the employment lands and the urban area designation of the city's official plan. From a transportation perspective, this site is well suited. County Road 42 is a major transportation and transit road and is recommended to be widened from 2 lanes to 4 lanes between Walker Road and East Puce Road. The site is also located next to the future Lausanne Parkway extension, which will eventually be a 6-lane road with interchanges at Highway 3 and 401. Quick access to these main roadways will make the hospital easily accessible to all residents of Windsor and Essex County. The site will run alongside the Little River Natural Lands Corridor, which is planned for a multi-use trail that will expand the city's greenway system. Since the hospital is not expected to be completed for at least 7 to 9 years, many of these improvements will be constructed in time to accommodate the traffic demands of the new hospital. The site is also large enough to provide ample parking. It is important to note that the hospital is not a standalone healthcare facility. The new single-site acute care hospital will be the hub of a fully integrated healthcare network that has been presented to us today. This network will give Windsor Essex residents access to state-of-the-art healthcare services no matter what their particular needs may be. The single-site acute care hospital and its accompanying network represent a sustainable healthcare solution for the future and will make Windsor Essex well-equipped to meet our needs and the needs of future generations. At this stage in the process, it is extremely important for all of us to support the location the selection committee has chosen. We must have confidence in the members of the committee and the integrity of the process. No one has had access to the amount of information or spent as much time carefully considering all of the options as the members of the site selection subcommittee. Presenting a unified front to the province of Ontario will demonstrate that Windsor Essex is committed to seeing this project move forward as quickly as possible. I'd like to thank all of the members of the public who participated in this site selection process. Not only was your input valuable, but your engagement was critical. I would also like to thank the hardworking members of the Site Selection Committee on behalf of Windsor, Essex for their work in selecting this site. I'm sure it was not an easy decision, but we appreciate your expertise and careful consideration to ensure that this region has the best possible single-site acute care hospital.
Hi, I'm Tom BAIN, Warden for the County of Essex, and I'm extremely excited to be participating in the transformation of the healthcare delivery across Windsor and Essex County. It is so important that we increase our healthcare. Continually, on a daily basis, I hear that need that's out there. While within the boundary of the city of Windsor, the location will provide easy and ready access to residents all across Essex County. Our residents can reach there quickly. I know there's always been a concern about the location, but with County Roads 2, 401, and the EC Row Expressway, our people in Essex County are going to be able to get first-hand health care in a very short time. The location of the new hospital will become a catalyst also for growth and development in both the city and county lands that are in proximity to the site. Certainly, we're going to benefit from that. Other businesses are going to grow up in the area. They'll create jobs. So there's a real spin-off effect for us, both in the city and the county. Of course, we need to have faith in our decision-making process conducted by the Site Selection Subcommittee. I always have, and I certainly recommend that we, as a county and as a city, continue to have that trust in our committee. They've made over 14,000 decisions based on site selection. I think it's so important too, especially for county residents, to know that Leamington Memorial Hospital is going to be able to continue to provide its present services and really to provide services at even a higher level, to be a real integral part of this entire healthcare system. We need to let the transformation of healthcare delivery across Windsor and Essex County begin. Our community deserves nothing less.
This concludes today's journey through the future of our healthcare. Again, thank you to everyone who played a role getting us to where we are today. This proposal is now with the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care, who I am confident will commit their due diligence in reviewing this proposal. We look forward to the next stages in the planning process. If you have any questions or want more information, I encourage you to visit our website, www.windsorhospitalswithans.ca. Thank you for your continued support.